Well, Alzheimer's disease affects 50 million people worldwide, and we're all at risk as we get older. Joining me to tell us why our brain is susceptible to this disease is Dr. Martin Hetzer. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
You're from the Salk Institute, I should also mention too, but talk about why our brains become susceptible to Alzheimer's disease.
So in healthy people, every sensation, movement, thought, memory, feeling is a result of signals that are passed across billions of neurons in our brain. And neurons constantly communicate with each other through chemical charges and chemical communication between neurons. And in Alzheimer patients, these communication processes are destroyed through toxic events. And so we know two proteins that are critically involved in the progression of the disease. There are many familiar with the disease might know them. They are amyloid beta and tau protein. But we believe there are more reasons why the disease is occurring many years and even decades before the first signs of Alzheimer's disease.
There's really, when we talk about disease, we often hear about risk factors, and a lot of that being diet or smoking, things that we can either improve or get rid of. But the single greatest risk factor for Alzheimer's disease is aging, something that we haven't figured out how to stop or reverse. So really, we're all at risk.
We are, yeah. So there is actually only a very small percentage is caused by genetic factors.
Wow.
More than 90% of all Alzheimer patients by sporadic cases. And so this means that age, as you said, is the greatest risk factor for the onset of disease, and we really don't know why that is. And so that's why at the Salk Institute we focus on studying Alzheimer's disease in the context of aging. So we have colleagues focusing on various aspects of aging, including the vasculature, including inflammatory processes, because there are also cells in the brain, in addition to nerve cells, that take care of neurons. They clear out the debris on a daily basis, and they also fail during normal aging. And we want to understand the mechanisms and really the question whether Alzheimer is an abnormal form of aging or a separate disease is actually not answered yet.
Not determined,
Not
right.
determined.
We don't have a cure. We don't really have an effective treatment for Alzheimer's, but which is why the Salk Institute is doing so much research on this. And you just received a $1.5 million gift. Where is that money going to go at the Salk Institute for this?
Yeah, so as you say, there's no effective therapy. There are currently close to 6 million Alzheimer patients in the US. If we keep on that trajectory, there will be more than 15 million people in the US suffering from the disease. The healthcare cost will skyrocket from around 270 billion to more than $1 trillion. So what we have to do with this gift, and we want to do, is develop drugs that are based on evidence, understanding of the causes, so the molecular and cellular underpinnings of Alzheimer's disease, which might very well be linked to aging mechanisms that we don't understand. And so a big chunk of that donation goes into a newly formed laboratory that focuses on stem cell research that we use to understand the mechanisms that cause the disease, but also can serve as a platform for drug screening.
And you're, I understand, using skin stem cells?
Yeah, it's a completely new, radically different approach. So we can use skin cells from Alzheimer patients, convert them into neurons. We call those induced neurons. And remarkably, those neurons that you derive from the skin of a person recapitulate some feature of the disease, because we cannot access neurons in a living person. So we need to use this trick to study aging and disease progression of neurons, of nerve cells derived from skin cells.
Wow, fascinating. Dr. Hetzer from Salk Institute, thank you so much for sharing that with us this morning, and
Thanks
I appreciate
for having me.
the work and research being done.
Thanks a lot.
Well,